before we let you go, I do want to run one more thing in this idea of sponsors. It's something we talked about early on when we were talking about the Apple TV numbers, but they were teasing that they had these big new sponsors coming up. And they've announced two of them. I don't know how many they were actually teasing, but they've announced two of them so far. Walmart was the first one, and Amazon TV or Amazon Fire TV was the second. So just breaking down both of them. Walmart, they are, and I'm going to read the quote here. I've got the quote here. They're activating something near regular season games with a ton of content from a creator network, which they are creating. They're the face of the new Leagues Cup, and they are creating dedicated programming on Saturdays at select stadiums, and like we mentioned, a creators network for behind the scenes coverage. Just your thoughts on what this sponsor means and what it can do for the league.
I mean, Walmart is a massive, massive company. They got a lot of money. Yeah, who wouldn't want Walmart as a sponsor? We've seen with the Messi era, the Michelob Ultra and Lowe's and more and more. And like I said, when it comes to the World Cup, it's just everybody wants a piece of the pie, right? Soccer, we've seen in this country, will blow up at certain times. It did in 1996. It did, around the 2014 era. So it's going to happen again. And it's a lot of these big companies, they're seeing that. And MLS is, I don't want to say a cheaper way, but it kind of is
Mm-hmm.
in some ways. It's a cheaper way to get in, right? Because if you think about, yes, we want to have the sponsorship and actually be, the sponsor to have an advert in the middle of a game where Brazil's on TV or England or whoever. The next best thing you can have is just being associated with the sport in some way in the lead up. Of course, we've got Lionel Messi here. They want to be associated with that as well. And Walmart, yeah, it's, like I said, it's a massive company. It's a big deal. And there's lots of other ones that they seem to be having coming up, right, Andrew? I mean, the DoorDash, Caterpillar, Continental Tires, those are all, I think, renewing. They've got lots of things happening. So double digits is the tagline they like saying, double digit year. So obviously a big boost in marketing revenues. And like I said, let's hope that that only means that they're going to invest a lot of that after the World Cup has come. Don't just line your pockets. Maybe actually spend some of that on the league and the sport and grassroots soccer in this country to encourage the next, batch of soccer players that might become, World Cup stars.
John, how is Arthur Blank going to buy his seventh yacht if he's not lining his pocket with Walmart money? What do you expect him to
That's the
do?
wrong owner to use. He actually spends money.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
wants
but
to be Mr. US Soccer.
he
He wants to
does.
buy the whole
Sorry,
thing.
how is he supposed to become Mr. US Soccer if he's not lining the pockets of Cindy Cohn and Don Garber? Is that better, Connor? Were you
Just
happy with that?
listen, just because we have an Orlando fan on the show doesn't mean you need to dunk on Atlanta every time that you get the
No, I think this
opportunity.
this is exactly what you need to do. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Connor. Your thoughts on the Walmart, the Walmart sponsorship here?
I'll keep this pretty short.
I
Uh,
agree with
I
John. Move on. Great, awesome. Thank you.
I love the sponsorship coming in because I think this is a bargaining chip for the players to come to their discussion with the owners and say, look at how much money you're getting now because of the product that we're producing on the field. Time to crack open that salary cap and pay us.
Nice. I think it's totally fair. The problem that I have with the deal, outside of that, we don't know how much money it was worth. Now, I'm assuming it's worth significant money because, as John said, it's Walmart, right? It feels so forced. Are we a creator network? What are we going to do? We're going to hire people to wear Walmart shirts and do TikTok dances outside of Red Bull Arena? What are we what are we doing?
They probably
Like,
will.
and
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. They will. And this is, as much
They're
as
gonna
you're
have
trying to,
MLS themed Walmart greeters in
yeah,
jerseys.
and I mean, listen to this thing about the I show speed at the All Star game, right? Like the All Star game is for the best players in the league to go up against the best players of whoever you're going to bring in, and you got I showed speed taking like penalties from the players in the All Star. Like, what are we doing, guys? the idea of I get it. You're trying to reach out to the younger generation who's, locked on these bricks in their pocket or whatever. But there comes a time where it's just too much. And maybe this is old man on porch yelling at cloud, but it's crossed a line for me. Like and again, I don't know what this creator network is going to be, or what AI bots are going to use to push out this content. I have no idea. But the other part of it was like this behind the scenes coverage, right? Remember when Apple TV was launched and they were like, every club is going to put out hours of behind the scene coverage for every season they're in here? Has anybody seen any of that yet? I don't think I've seen a lick of it. And Red Bull used to do a ton of it.
No, I
They
think there's like a few documentaries on Apple TV that are interesting, but not like in-depth stuff.
Yeah, and the worst part is you can't find them. Like I never get like I got alerts for Onside, which I still need to watch. I haven't actually gotten a chance to watch it yet because I'm so busy doing other things. But this behind, it feels almost like they're recycling the same. And not to dunk on USL because I think USL it has its room in US soccer. But the way that USL was always like, oh, Pro Rel's coming, and it's been 10 years since they dropped it first. It feels like MLS is just recycling the same stuff, like behind the scenes, creator networks, big sponsors. Like the problem is that kids don't follow Real Madrid because Vinicius Jr. and is friends with some influencer who's doing TikTok dances at halftime. They like Real Madrid because Real Madrid is one of the best teams in the world, which means the product on the field needs to get better. They have this money. If they don't use it to get better, it doesn't matter what the creator network is going to do if your on the field product is bad. Because at the end of the day, like we were talking about before, if you put this on a network or put it in front of somebody who watches soccer in England, France, Belgium, Germany, wherever, the only thing they're going to say is, this is terrible, and they're going to turn it off. Because that's what happened with NASL. NASL came in and brought all these big names, and people tuned in for 2 days and was like, wait a second, this is terrible. I'm not watching this anymore. And they crashed and burned. You need to get better on the field, and creator networks aren't going to do that. But that's just me.
I agree with Connor, which because I didn't think about that, but the CBA is going to be up at the end of 2027. That's Don Garber said it's not going to happen before the World Cup, all of these changes. So yeah, they're going to look at this and say, hey, look how much money you made off the back of the World Cup and everything, and negotiate more, and hopefully it just forces the whole league to spend more money.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you, Andrew. I know, shocker.
Yeah,
But
because you of all people are thrilled for the TikTok dances. I don't think you would even own TikTok.
I think you're just thinking of it like you said, little too old man with stick minded.
Sure, and
Because
I accept that.
I
I
think
agree with Andrew about speed, though. That the game is
That
gone.
was
Like, no,
crazy.
that's
That
too
was
far.
absurd.
Too far.
I was literally about to say that I think that that's probably good marketing from them because he definitely has a younger audience, and I think the way you get the younger audience, because I think they will have that mindset that you're talking about, Andrew, where it's like if they get to the Premier League or Real Madrid or Barcelona first, they're not gonna give MLS its time of day. But I think
Mhm.
if you can get MLS to get to them first, I think you got a better shot at keeping them around and kind of sowing the seeds. Whereas like even if they then find Real Madrid and Barcelona later, I think that there's like enough history behind them kind of like learning about the sport through MLS that they would still stick with it. But I think if you go the opposite route and you try to pull them over from a Premier League team or from Real Madrid or Barcelona, they're just going to be like, whatever, this league sucks. I'm not going to give it its time of day. It doesn't matter. So I think like the collaborations and stuff with guys like I Show Speed who have this young fan base, it could pay dividends on that. It could be, the door opening for a lot of these younger people who just really haven't given the sport at the time of day or given the sport its flowers.
I think it's really hopeful, and I was in the same boat for quite a while until I started coaching kids who have enough of a self control. That's probably the wrong word for that, but self determination maybe is a better word, where they can decide who they want to support and where they want to go. And the instant they go out and they say something like, "Oh, I'm a this fan," and somebody says, "Oh, that's stupid because this player is better than that player," they fold because they don't have enough of a connection to it. And the issue to me, and this is we're not going to go down this road because I could talk about this for an hour, is that when you are too far away from stadiums where, oh, I like them because they're close or they're affiliated to Atlanta is a big one for us down here in South Carolina. A lot of people, when I ask them their favorite team, it's either Miami because of Messi, or it's Atlanta Charlotte because it's the closest to us, and they know it because of the football teams. But there's no real connection there. They're there because it happens, and because we're so far away, they're not in the stadium week after week. They're not experiencing what we experience when we take it in and remember what that was about being in the stadium. So it's almost the second thought to them. And again, now you're comparing two teams that you watch on TV. One of them has a packed out 45,000 fan stadium with top notch players and stuff like that. And then you got Atlanta, who's usually packed out, but in recent years has been. And this is not me trying to rag on Atlanta, even though we love it.
Yeah, sure, it's not.
In the past few years, as they've gotten less and less successful, less and less people have shown up, and because of that, the atmosphere has died down in that big stadium. The performances have died down, and they say, "Oh, well, this isn't fun to watch. I'd rather watch 45,000 people go crazy when a ball goes in the back of the net versus 35,000 people in a 70,000 seat stadium." That just doesn't do it for me, right?
Yeah, no, I listen. I don't want to Euro snob it up at the end of this episode, but
Yes, you do.
I've now had the opportunity
Do
to
it.
see a game. I've seen a game live in Europe now, and I've seen a
Oh,
game
tell me
live,
more.
and I've seen a game live in the U.S. And I'll use NYC, so it's a little bit of a benefit to you, so I can dunk on NYC, so you'll be a little bit happier. But the atmosphere at the Chelsea game that I went to versus the atmosphere at the NYC game that I went to was night and day difference.
Yep.
And if you had asked me which one, like if I had a realistic option on like which one I would could see on any given weekend, there's zero question that I would much rather go watch Chelsea play. And to be honest, that's a little bit of a tough comparison because I'm a Chelsea fan and not an NYC fan. But I think I would take it even if it was like Liverpool playing against, I don't know, Sunderland.
Welcome.
Liverpool against Sunderland. I think I'd rather go see that and have like the insane atmosphere in the stadium than watch NYC play Montreal in City Field.
And that's my point. Is the atmosphere is all full of people who are like, yeah, this is a fun thing to do, without having the buy-in of this is my team, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think, and to circle this all back before we get on, we still have one more sponsor to talk about. I don't think TikTok dancers are going to make kids go from, oh yeah, I love Real Madrid, Chelsea, and say, oh nope, Atlanta United is now my number one team because this person with 2 million followers on TikTok did a dance outside of Mercedes Benz. I just don't see it doing that. Now, your point on the money is great, and I agree with you completely. That should come in, and they should be able to say, pay me, because that's 100% spot on. The problem that I have is how they're getting their what do you call it, the handoff, right? I'm giving you money, you're going to let me do X, Y, and Z, and this is how we're going to market ourselves. Do it better than that. Put your logo on the sideboards. Get your name on the couple jerseys. Do whatever you got to do. I don't need a creator network. That's just me.
I do want to say that I think a lot of the younger generation sometimes, like I agree that they a lot of them follow these stars, these influencers, these TikTok guys, but I have seen a lot of young Orlando City fans that also understand what soccer culture is, and they support their club and they
Mm-hmm.
support the badge too. So I do want to say that there are young MLS fans out there who are interacting with their local team
Mm-hmm.
and becoming really invested in this sport because of MLS. Same with USL, so I think that grassroots connection is not entirely lost on the younger generation, but you need to get them in the stadium. You need to get them
Yes.
there. You need to show them what it is. You need to get their attention because, like you said, Andrew, they're not going to look up from their phone to look at a game on TV.
Right, and that was going to be my question after you made it, was how far away from the stadium are they coming from, right? Because my closest is 2.5 hours to Charlotte. It's 3 hours to Atlanta. I'm 6 to Orlando because I made that drive in November. What happened in that game? Sorry, I'm not going there. I'm not that mean. We can't just pack it up and walk into the stadium every week as much as I would love to, and unfortunately, there aren't enough local group, and again, stuff that we should be working on. There aren't enough local teams here where we've got a USL 2 team in Columbia. We've got Charleston Battery down 2.5 hours in Charleston. Everything is relatively far from where we are. So to get the kids to buy into what we're doing is a lot harder than if we were in Atlanta, where Atlanta's got all these satellite things. And it's something that, I won't go down that. If you want to look at our idea on how to fix that, we did an episode early in the season. Go check that out. I'll link it somewhere. I'm not going down that path because that's a whole other conversation. That's a very good conversation, but not today. The last one we got to talk about, Amazon Fire TV, the new home for MLS highlight packages and recordings of past matches. Thoughts? Other than anything different from Walmart? Anything you want to share?
I think just, why? Like, you have Apple.
Hmm.
YouTube is your greatest asset, in my opinion, to reach a lot of young people. Just again, organic scrolling, right? You can't people online, they're watching things about soccer. Eventually, they might scroll across something made by an MLS club. That's engagement. They'll find that. So having all of these highlights and everything on Amazon, maybe they'll find it there. I don't really. I think they just wanted to give Amazon something to put on there, but they were like, "Hey, we can't obviously we have a deal with Apple. We can't do any of this, but we'll give you, I don't know, whatever that's going to be."
Yeah, the highlight packages. Connor, your thoughts?
I think two thoughts. One,
Like, are
I
they not
wonder.
going to be on? Sorry, Connor. Are they not going to be on YouTube anymore? That's the only other thing. Like, because if that's exclusive, that's messed up.
Right.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Two thoughts on this. I think one is I wonder if this is Amazon's way to maybe try and like dip their toe in the water and set themselves up to try and win a bid for Major League Soccer when the Apple TV deal runs out. The other thing for me, I definitely agree. I think YouTube would be the better place for it. And if it's exclusive to Amazon, that's going to be really disappointing. But at the end of the day, too, like if Amazon gave them like 10, $20 million more than like what YouTube would have given them, then I think I'm okay with it, to be honest. I'd rather have the money and see that get reinvested in the league than have to like go out of my way a little bit more to search for highlights, because I don't necessarily think that like the highlights are gonna be something that's gonna like draw new people into like watching. I think highlights is just like a nice thing for people that are already fans to catch up on if they've like missed a game.
One of the things that Eli and I spoke about was the idea that most kids these days will not watch a full game, 90 minutes, which baffles me, by the way, because I will watch, and there are games where I will tune out. Red Bull have made me tune out significantly more this year than any year before, which is heartbreaking. But the idea that you got kids saying that they're diehard Man City fans and they've not watched more than 10 minutes of a game ever. It's like it's insane. So the idea of highlight packages is good, but you know what people who know how to use an Amazon Fire TV can do? Open up YouTube and click on it there, where it's a lot easier to do it. And if you're going to tell me that, YouTube might not be paying you something, maybe Amazon is giving you money for the whatever, great. Put it back into the league, love it. But is it really going to move the needle anywhere? I doubt it. Is it really the big, sponsor we need to be flexing over? I doubt it, right? Connor, I agree with you that, somebody made this point on Twitter too, that this could be a dry run for, what is Amazon going to bring in terms of interest? If we need to back out of the Apple deal, where do we go next? Because I don't think they're going back by cable. We had that conversation. I think they've burned that bridge, for lack of a better term. So they're going to have to find a new streaming partner, and it doesn't seem like anybody else is going to bring them on right now. And they're not going to go back to ESPN either, because they probably burned that bridge when they said thanks but no thanks. I don't think Amazon's the right landing home either, just for the exact conversation we had, where you're on an island in Apple, and you're going to be on an island with Amazon TV, and I don't know. But the idea that they've grown sponsorship by double digits since last year is, good. That's the most important part, if they use the money properly. However, we know that's hit or miss. We know that they always find a way to mess that part up. So I don't know. I feel I can tell how much I am turning into old man here, where it's like I hate everything that they're doing that is so coded to Gen Alpha or whatever. But they just got to use the money right. At that point, I really don't care what they do out after they get the money, so long as you use the money right.